So I came across this fabulous article the other day entitled, How None of Us Are Really Adults Until We Turn 36. I'm going to read a few passages for you. This is written by an Andrew Fuller, who's an Australian clinical psychologist and family therapist. He writes, my book, he has a new book out, I guess, Your Best Life at Any Age, distills 500,000 people's life experiences into a roadmap of human life. What became clear during all my interviews was that different stages of life ask different things of us, and living a great life requires adaptability. Resilience is the improvisational art of integrating whatever life throws your way. One of the challenges presented to us, though less generally acknowledged, is our own development. We are substantially different people at different stages of our lives. And he starts off by talking about people in their 20s and then their 30s until he gets to the age of 36. And when he refers to the 20s, he says, quote, finding meaning and purpose in your 20s is as precarious as holding a live salmon while standing on a rock in a river. So the reason this caught my eye is because the status quo is to believe that young people should, quote unquote, find themselves before getting married. This is especially true for women. I remember this being a thing even in the 1980s when I was in college, but it's even more entrenched in society today. The truth, though, is exactly as this Andrew Fuller describes. We really are substantially different people at different stages of our lives, and it's our adaptability that will determine how successful we are. So this idea that we're supposed to find ourselves first and then get married and incorporate this new self we've supposedly created, which is 100% going to change anyway, makes no sense. If Andrew Fuller is right that age 36 is when we take our first real steps into adulthood, which is what he writes here, that was the conclusion of this studying that he did, then we have to rethink this entire idea about finding oneself before getting married. I think it's great for everyone to take a few years for themselves after college. If you go to college, I shouldn't assume you go to college. That's fine if you don't. Doing life the way you want to do it. But you have to be careful that that doesn't drag on, which is what society would have you do, just not even think about it or worry about it. Not only can it be difficult to combine one's life down the road with a life you've already created for yourself, which is almost a whole nother conversation, delaying marriage for the purpose of finding yourself is the wrong reason to do so. A woman named Rachel Lehman Haupt, H-A-U-P-T, I don't know if I'm saying that name right or not, is a great example. In an article some years back entitled The Aniston Syndrome, she wrote that just before her 37th birthday, she told the man she loved that she was ready to settle down and have a child. Only her body wasn't cooperating. Surprise, surprise. Quote, I've had all this freedom to come this far in my career, she writes, and I've finally found myself. And as a result, I found you. Now I have no control over my biology. But Lehman Haupt has it all wrong. She didn't find the love of her life as a result of finding herself. Like so many women of her generation, she was simply focused exclusively on herself and on her career, and thought that life would fall into place according to her own timetable. But she then wrote, in that same essay, quote, if I could go back 10 years, I would tell my younger self that she should deeply consider her future family. I wonder whether, in fact, my generation collectively screwed up. End quote. Those are pretty hard words to hear, but America needs to hear them.